because you asked the question, will Tennessee or Texas Christian make the college football playoff? And sort of on this note, what we've been talking about here, Tennessee obviously now right in the thick of things. Texas Christian as well, coming off their comeback win. So right off the bat, I'm going to ask you, how do you feel about this?
I don't think that either one of these teams is giving themselves any room for error, right? Yeah. It's very much within reason for Texas Christian or Tennessee to make the college football playoff, right? Because that just means you continue to do what you have been doing. You run the table. You beat everybody in front of you. And I made a mistake on the Sunday show that I'm going to cop to right now, in which I said Tennessee had beaten 3 ranked opponents. Producer Cat, a Tennessee volunteer and alumna. Hey, RJ, that's 4. That's 4, dog. That's 4. And I'm looking at that going, goodness me. And then I looked at Texas Christian's schedule. They're going to play their 4th straight ranked opponent this weekend against Kansas State to have an opportunity to join Tennessee with 4 ranked wins. I did not think we would be halfway through the season talking about Tennessee and Texas Christian having the most ranked wins of any other team in college football. So if you are the selection committee and you do want to do the math and you do want to go down the resumes, it's going to be really tough for you to look past either one of those teams based on who they played and what they were ranked when they played them. Now, for Tennessee, it's easy. It's easy because if you go beat Georgia, you have everybody's respect. And you have what should be a walk to the SEC championship game where you will probably get to play another Alabama team, right? In either case, you probably get the nod about getting to the playoff, all things being equal, if there's a 1-loss Pac-12 champion or a 1-loss Big 12 champion. For Texas Christian, they're still got to play other teams. They got to get past Texas, which I think is going to be an awesome November game. But they also had to get past this Kansas State team. They barely got past Oklahoma State in overtime. They're white-knuckling it in a way that, well, they're playing with house money at this time because we didn't think Sonny Dykes and that team were going to be this good to start. And it's a feel-good story to be bowl eligible in October. But it's tough, man, because you know the Big Ten champion is going to get in. You know that whoever wins the SEC is going to get in. And maybe the other team playing in that conference championship game. So that's 3 spots, right? What are you going to do if you got a 1-loss Texas Christian? That's the problem. If you got a 1-loss Texas Christian that wins the Big 12 championship, I don't think they're getting in, especially if you're looking at UCLA being undefeated going into the Pac-12 championship game. There's just a lot of moving and shaking to be done here, but I thought it was more interesting to wonder who gets in if we're down to, say, 1 loss, right? If we got a Tennessee team that maybe has a loss to Georgia, but doesn't play in the SEC championship game, do people really give them the benefit of the doubt because they beat Alabama? Tyler, I don't think so, dog. I think that the selection committee really likes being able to say, no, you've done it for a couple of years. We can let you in now, as opposed to, no, we like what you did right now, and we're going to give it to you right now.
Yeah, I think that's a good segue to our first response. This one comes from Preston, who says, if TCU runs the table, they get in. The question is, would a 1-loss SEC runner-up get left out in the process? And like you were saying, it's not necessarily always about what you've done this year. It kind of has to do with what you've done in the past. And the team like Alabama, whether it's right or wrong, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. Like, did you watch that Alabama-Tennessee game and then Alabama lost? You thought, oh, they're out of the playoff. No, I don't think anyone did for that matter. So in TCU's case, they have to run the table.
No, that's correct. I don't see another way for them to do this. And it's also, it sucks for them that Oklahoma is bad because you beat Oklahoma like they stole something. And all anybody wants to say is they should not be a top 25 team. It also sucks that Texas Tech was able to beat Texas in overtime because I think a lot of people would give you credit for beating an undefeated Texas a little bit more than they would give for a 1-loss Texas or even a 2-loss Texas, right? So it's just tough. But we all know what Alabama is. And we saw what Texas did against Alabama. We saw what Tennessee did against Alabama. You really need Kansas State to finish this the rest of the way. And you need Kansas to continue to be Kansas, right? You need the rest of the Big 12 to hold you up for you to have a chance to get in this. Because for me, this is really a discussion about, is the Big 12 a better league than the Pac-12? Which is, I guess, the question that we've been asking since 2017. And the Big 12 has won that argument. So if you are Texas Christian, you got to feel good about that. But it's won that argument because Oklahoma is a blue blood and Oklahoma is a national brand and Oklahoma has run this conference for the better part of 25 years. I just think it sucks to be Texas Christian right now. That's all, because you're moving uphill. It's like Cincinnati in 2020. They're never going to let you in. 2021, we let you in, you got beat down. Now we don't have to hear from you anymore.
Yeah. If you're a TCU fan, whether it pains you or not, you are the biggest Texas Longhorn fan until that game is played, because you need Texas looking awesome so that if you were to beat them and were to remain undefeated, that game will mean something. Because right now, and partially due to the fact that Oklahoma has been disappointing this year, TCU doesn't have that signature win yet. Even though Texas did lose to Texas Tech, I think if Texas, even though they had a little bit of a letdown in a win against Iowa State, if they get back on track, start dominating teams, and then TCU beats them, I think that might be an emphatic statement to the College Football Playoff Committee. But it's still early. So let's move on to our next response here. This one comes from Hank Willis, who just, I'm guessing, a Vol fan, because Hank says Tennessee, absolutely. So now I think it's time. What are Tennessee's chances to make the CFP?
You beat Georgia, you're going to get in. That's the way I think about this. I think if you beat Georgia and you don't take a bad L, say Missouri, right, you're going to have an opportunity to play for a national championship, because we have such a large amount invested in what Alabama does and what Georgia does, right? I also would add in here, Georgia is the second best scoring defense in the country, okay? Pop quiz, who's the number one scoring defense in the country? Answer, Illinois, 8.9 points per game, but we're not even going to go there, right? We're just going to stick with the 9.1 that Georgia gives up a game, and that's when you take into account, well, damn, it really sucks for Tennessee that they don't have Kent State on the schedule, because we'd have to give some credit there. But that's the point, right? What kind of Georgia team are you expecting to play? And if you think that you can hold Stetson Bennett in check and that offense in check long enough for Hendon Hooker to be Heisman Hendon Hooker, you have a chance there. But goodness, that's a tough sell. I mean, even for me, that has really been high on the Tennessee Volunteers going into this offseason. I was going, hey, they could be good. Right. And producer Cat's going, RJ, don't do this to me. I'm like, they could be good. I didn't know they were going to be this good. And I swear to you, anybody that told you they were going to be 6-0 going into, their next game is lying to you, because you're looking at the schedule. You're going, no, that's a loss, and that's a loss. Sorry, Tennessee, you have a tough schedule. Do you reward Tennessee for the tough schedule that they play if you are the College Football Playoff Selection Committee? I don't know. We have no data here. It's been that long since Tennessee was good. I was having this discussion at the barbershop. I get my haircut every Tuesday before I do the shows. And one of my barbers is a Tennessee fan. He called me out because I shouted out Cat and I shouted out my cousin Rico. And he's like, shout me out. I was starving. And he was like, yo, RJ, I've been a Tennessee fan since we was pups. He's 35 and I'm 35. And I never knew this. We went to high school together. I never knew this. I said, how you come you didn't tell me you're a Tennessee fan? Because I ain't had nothing to talk to you about. Like, we had Derek Dooley. What am I supposed to say? We ran Lane Kiffin out of town. What am I supposed to say? And now we're in a position where it feels good to be a Volunteer. And I said, but you still got to play Georgia. Why are you bringing that up, RJ? Because that's the game. So for me, it really does come down to, can you beat Georgia? And right now, I'm sorry to say it, I don't think you're that good. I don't. I would love to be wrong. But you got to go do it. If you go do it, I will be here stomping for you in November when it matters. But you got to go make me look good by going to win that game before I'm like, Tennessee making the playoff. I put it another way, Texas Christian probably has a better chance to go undefeated, but Tennessee has a better chance to make the playoff. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And just a side note before we move on here, what if I told you before the season that the Tennessee-Georgia game could be the most impactful games in determining the Heisman Trophy? We could be looking at Hendon Hooker versus Stetson Bennett. One of them could have a Heisman moment in that game. That's just crazy to think about.
That'd be awesome,
yeah,
honestly. And it's knowing what both of their stories are, because both of those guys had adversity early in their careers, right? And the kind of players they turned out to be. I'm here for that. Like, I don't think I would have dismissed that out of hand. I would just been like, I would like to know more.
That's fair.
Thank you for watching the #1 college football show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and like this video so that you don't miss any of the best college football coverage in America.